What is going on, everybody? I am back with my favorite video series, looking into who the movie director equivalent is for all of my favorite rappers. This video is a re-release from about 2 years ago, so keep that in mind if my takes need updating, but be on the lookout for volumes 4 and 5 coming soon, and I'll make sure all my takes get up to date from there. Let me know down in the comments if there's any rapper-director pairings that you can think of. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into it. First up, we have Tyler the Creator and Luca Guadagnino, two artists that have risen to prominence over the past decade to become two of the most consistent and respected artists in their fields. Stylistically, they share a lot of similar ground as well. Their work ranges from beautiful tales of young love to the abrasive gore of horrorcore and body horror. Luca's forays into the horror genre, like his remake of Suspiria and Bones and All, reflect the attitude and aesthetic that some of Tyler's more aggressive and early albums that seem to get a visceral reaction from his audience. Later in Tyler's career, his sound has evolved to focus more on love and the beauty and confusion of his own emotions. On his album Flower Boy, Tyler even alludes to being bisexual, and Luca Guadagnino's film Call Me By Your Name has become the highest profile LGBT romance film of the last decade, and Tyler's music from this era perfectly captures the feelings in this film. I've seen a lot of people compare Tyler the Creator to Wes Anderson because Tyler is so clearly influenced by his style, but I think Luca has a range to his style and interests that fits with Tyler much better, even if he sometimes dresses like a bellhop at the Grand Budapest Hotel. Next up, we have two queens of the game, Nicki Minaj and Greta Gerwig. Aside from being the biggest and most respected women of their eras, the main connection between these two is obviously Barbie. Nicki has been branding herself as the Barbie of the rap game for years, and now that Greta has adapted Barbie into a film, it's the single movie in history that captures Nicki's essence so perfectly. Nicki even has a song on the Barbie soundtrack, so it only makes sense. The two also do a great job of keeping their artistic flourishes while making some of the most accessible music and movies out. Nicki Minaj makes hits, but she's still far more lyrical than most rappers you'll hear on the radio. And Greta Gerwig has kept her style as a thoughtful and introspective filmmaker, even while evolving into making the literal biggest movie of last year. Even though the subject matter of their art both differ in tone and content a lot of the times, their work always revolves around womanhood, and they have both become icons of their mediums. Up next, we have a pair of duos with the Clipse and the Safdies. These two sets of brothers were able to come up in the game together and carve out a signature style immediately that set them apart. Pusha T and Malice perfected coke rap in a way that highlighted the intensity of the reality of their lifestyle, and Josh and Benny Safdie captured that same intensity, making anxiety-riddled thrillers about the world of drugs and gambling. Clipse came out of the gate with two classics, with Lord Willin' and Hell Hath No Fury, just like how the Safdies gave us Good Time and then Uncut Gems right after. The art that these guys make is some of the coolest around, every single time. And unfortunately, even though they made some amazing work together, both of these pairs broke up at the height of their creative power. Up next, we have Rick Ross and Michael Bay. These are two of the biggest hit makers in history. They know more than almost anybody what is going to get millions of audience members across the world excited. Stylistically, their work is glossy, opulent spectacles that feel larger than life. Their unapologetic affinity for all things excessive give their work a larger-than-life feel. The Bad Boys films are a perfect companion piece for Ross's music, as they both show off the high-class criminal world of Miami. Critically, they both have never been known to get much love and respect, but they really have become two of the more reliable hitmakers in their fields, and they always seem to attract the top talent to work with them. Ross is known as the founder of the label Maybach Music Group, just like Bay founded his own Platinum Dunes production company, so they have become pretty influential businessmen within their fields as well, helping similar artists make art under the guidance and leadership of them. Next up, we have mach-hommy and David Lynch, two of the most enigmatic artists around. They each have built two of the most respected careers on their own terms. David Lynch is obviously more established with his 50-year career, but I think they share a lot in what they represent. Lynch has been known for making abstract films that don't hold the viewer's hand, and he's been adamant about not explaining what each of his films mean. This is similar to mach-hommy. His lyrics are abstract and often hard to decipher, and he's made a point to erase all of his lyrics from the internet, forcing the listener to listen and make their own opinion for themselves. Their work can often be dark, but they're able to do it in such an artful way that it feels painterly. Their best work feels like it belongs in a museum, rather than where the albums and films of their contemporaries end up. They hold their fans in a high regard, and never water down their work. More than anything, with artists of this stature, I need to find someone who not only matches their artistic integrity, but also an artist who gives me the same feeling. And mach-hommy's music and David Lynch's films are a match made in a red-curtained heaven. Next up we have Logic and Edgar Wright. These are two artists that could only exist in the 21st century. They both are extremely talented, but wear all of their influences on their sleeves, so much that their work feels like a reimagining of what came before them. Each of Edgar Wright's films is a modern take on a genre that has influenced him from the past, and Logic has been known to reference his favorite artists on most of his projects. They both are also very influential in bringing nerd culture to the forefront of each of their mediums. Logic's lyrical references feel like they could come directly off of the soundtrack to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I think Edgar Wright movies are a lot more loved and respected than Logic is, but they both have extremely dedicated cult fan bases who let each artist explore every creative avenue that they are inspired to. Also, in my last video I compared MF Doom to Quentin Tarantino, and Edgar Wright is often viewed as one of the creative offspring to Tarantino, and Logic has an alter ego called Doc D that is very inspired by Doom, so this comparison has layers to it. Next up we have Curren and Richard Linklater. These are two of the hardest working artists of the past 20 years. They each have released a dozen more projects than most of their contemporaries, and with all their releases they have been able to mix in mainstream beloved projects with a lot that are just for their diehard fans. Curren has multiple songs with Lil Wayne that ended up being pretty big hits, but also has a bunch of albums that are strictly for the underground. Linklater is in a similar position, giving us hits like School of Rock, along with smaller movies like Bernie, Slacker, and Boyhood. Richard Linklater's The Before trilogy is often regarded as one of the best trilogies that cinema has to offer, and you'll be hard-pressed to find a trilogy of hip-hop albums that reach the high bar that Currency's Pilot Talk trilogy does. They both offer a unique artistic view of life in the South, with Currency repping Louisiana and Linklater repping Texas. Dazed and Confused is one of Linklater's masterpieces, and I feel like Currency's music reflects that vibe perfectly. Just like that movie, his music is the perfect hangout vibe, and they both capture the stoner lifestyle. Overall, I think Currency might need to show a little more versatility in his styles to be a true one-to-one comparison with Linklater, but for now I think this is a pretty good pairing. And last but not least, we have Lil B and Tommy Wiseau. These are two of the most interesting and off-putting artists around. They have left fans and critics wondering for years if they are bad at what they do, or if it is all a part of some elaborate performance art. I think that Wiseau might really be a bad director, but I personally think that Lil B is extremely talented. But don't let that stop you from seeing the comparison. When they first came out, they both were panned by critics, and their art was thought of as nothing more than a joke. But as time went on, they both were able to build cult followings that rival anybody's. Tommy Wiseau's film The Room has been called the worst movie ever made, but it still sells out shows 20 years later, with adoring fans coming every single time. And when Lil B first came out, rap fans everywhere were calling him one of the worst rappers to ever live. But today he's pretty respected as a pioneer of the internet era of hip-hop. Lil B has made a lot more music than Tommy Wiseau has made films, but there's a similar feeling to everything that they do. Everything from the way that they talk, to the unique magic in the art that they are able to make that connects with people, even if they're confused by it. The two are bizarrely similar, and I think both wouldn't have it any other way. I'd also really like to see a disaster artist style movie about the life of Lil B, because that would just be awesome. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you guys have been enjoying this little re-release series I'm doing. These videos in this rapper director series were sitting over there on my second channel, Def Gold Film, where I really don't post anymore at all, and most of my subscribers were movie fans exclusively and not really rap fans, so I figured why not toss it on the main feed so all the true blue hip-hop fans can get some enjoyment out of it as well. As always, I want to give an extra special thank you to all of my patrons. Their support is really what makes everything I do on here possible. Head over to patreon.com/defgoldblum if you want to join and support the channel. And as always, I got a lot more headed your way, so stay tuned, stay safe, and stay def. Thanks for watching.